live. Good evening and welcome. This is Exploring WordPress with Alan and Trevor, and today we're going to be talking all about plugins. Now, there we go.
We're back.
That's a great entrance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching us on the replay, it's a pleasure to have your company, and thanks for checking us out. And if you're watching live, you are very welcome as well. I'm Alan Hennessy from Compass Media, social media management, training and consultant, also a podcaster as well. And I'm here with my good friend. I got it. My good friend,
Mr. Trevor Lawkins, known as the Digital Alchemist. I think I've first started calling myself a WordPress wizard since I've been doing these. Web design since 1999, graphic design and anything sort of magical, alchemistic within the creative world on the digital platforms we now live on all day. That's me.
Cool. So now you know who we are. That's it. No, I'm only joking. It's tonight we are talking, as usual, here on our Tuesday evening show. We are talking all about exploring WordPress, and over the last few weeks we have looked at how you set up your WordPress. We've also looked at themes, and tonight we are looking at plugins, and there is so many of them, and we're going to delve into them in a lot more detail. And plugins, fantastic piece, fantastic, I suppose, added extra or bonus extras or whatever. There's probably a technical word for it, Trevor, but I think they're great because you can have loads of them. And so I'm looking forward to finding out a little bit more about this. Even I have to admit, even I'm learning every week, so it's pretty cool. And I do say you are the wizard, but I suppose the WordPress Alchemist doesn't have the same ring as the WordPress wizard. Yeah. So plugins, Trevor.
What is a plugin? Good question. We sort of touched on it there. We previously talked about themes, and themes are more like taking WordPress and styling it, your kind of layouts and your colors and fonts and kind of make it look pretty. But plugins are really where the nuts and bolts of WordPress come into their own. And they're probably like extra little building blocks. I want to say little. There are some little building blocks, but then there's some pretty big building blocks. And they come in all shapes and sizes to add functionality to your website. So depending on what you want to do. So if I think of some sort of basic ones I will use all the time, I will use, say, something like duplicate post. And duplicate post, what it does is if you say you've got a post or a page, which we haven't explained, but don't worry about it. So you've got a web page. Say you design your About Us page. And you've done your About Us page and you've got your pictures and your headers and text and you've got it all laid out. I think, well, that looks nice. What I now want to do is say, FAQ page. And you want it to essentially kind of look the same, but then you just want to change the text. So what I would do is duplicate that About page. You've now got About page copy, and then you can edit that page and call it FAQ or services or contact. So instead of starting from scratch, each page from scratch, you can replicate what you've done once, so it keeps it on a similar theme. And there's a plugin called Duplicate Post I use, but there's loads of ones they'll have slightly different names, but basically they will take your post and make a copy of it. And that's quite a basic, simple functionality to that. But then you've got big plugins, so like e-commerce, like WooCommerce is the WordPress e-commerce plugin, is a massive, great plugin that does loads of stuff. Basically, a shopping system, far more complicated than just duplicating a post. Or you've got membership sites. You can have a membership plugin. That's quite a big and meaty plugin, lots of programming. But so basically, they're building blocks to do other things. And when I just look at we talk about the power of WordPress. Some people don't get it. They go, oh, well, yeah. I mean, I had somebody today say, well, yeah, but I use Wix because it's like £6 a month. I had a quick look because I'd never looked at this before. I had a quick look and I just Googled Wix plugins, and it says on Wix, on a Google summary, it says the Wix market has an offer of over 250 they call them apps. Same thing, call them apps. So they've got over 250. It doesn't quite tell you how many, but let's say 250 apps for Wix, okay? I then looked at another popular one, Squarespace. People love Squarespace. It all looks quite trendy and funky, doesn't it? They've got plugins listed on their website, 135. So not quite as good as Wix, but
No.
135. Do you know how many WordPress have got?
No.
Okay,
Me.
WordPress has been going a little bit longer, so you'd
Well,
probably
I would always expect. I was always think, WordPress is sort of like, when it comes to, I suppose, building websites and the website tool, as if you want to put it under that umbrella, I would say, WordPress is king. So I presume they probably have a few more than what, over 250.
a few more. So I'll tell you, it currently says on the WordPress website, 56,152.
Huh? I didn't think it was. I wouldn't have thought it was that many. That's quite a sizable quantity.
So that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity you got to develop your WordPress further. 56,000 odd plugins, and they're growing probably day by day. New people come up with new ones all the time. So that is the power of what you've got to tap into with WordPress.
Yeah. Saying that though, I suppose the other side of that is okay. There's 250,000. I think when it comes to the types of, say, WordPress, I think it's very important, I suppose, is that you know what you're looking for, as opposed to just going, oh, I'm going to put all these plugins. Like you see it with other pieces of software where you say, oh, I add this and I'll add this and I'll add this. And then all of a sudden one's conflicting against the other type of thing. So I think you have to be quite, focus I suppose would be one of the words that I would use to when it comes to, I suppose, plugins as well.
Yeah, I mean, it does bring its downside. 56,000 is a challenge to find the ones you want. It's a great big number and it is good, but the challenge of plugins is finding the right ones for what you want to do, finding ones that work, because when you appreciate WordPress is this whole open source, anybody can write a WordPress plugin and upload it onto the WordPress website. And as long as it technically complies and works, it will be there. But it doesn't mean it's any good. This is a downside. There are some plugins that are a bit flaky around the edge and don't quite work, or they clash with something else. So always when you're looking at plugins, we can have a look in a second about going online and looking for them. You need to find ones that are currently supported, they're up to date, look at the reviews, see if there's people are saying, oh, this is rubbish, it didn't work, or it broke something or whatever, check some reviews out. And just be prudent of how you pick a plugin to, is it actually going to work and do a proper job. So it can be a little bit dodgy. And I've used some plugins over the years that you install them and you kind of think, oh, that wasn't as good as it said it was going to be, or it wasn't quite what you wanted. But there's always another one you can go and check. And they are, there are some good ones out there, but equally there are some that probably aren't quite so good. So you have to tread carefully with it and just don't install it for the fun of it. Think, oh, try that. What I've tended to do is set up a demo website for myself. That I actually host here on my actual own computer, because I've got my own web service here I run in the office. So it's not online, it's not on the internet, it's on my own. I've got my own computer here I run, and I test them out and play with them. And if it breaks, it doesn't matter. I'll just start again. It's a playground for me to try things out, because that's kind of what I do. So over the years, I've sort of found plugins like the duplicate post plugin. I've tried different ones and I found one that really works. It's really simple, does the job. So anytime now, that's the one I pick. And I learn which the ones that I go to all the time for certain jobs and keep using those. So yeah, it is a minefield. You have to do a bit of research, or you find someone like me that can shortcut all that and say, here's what you need for these plugins. These do the job you need. Use those, and this is how you use them.
Yeah, that's what I would say, and that's the thing. But I suppose the other side of that is we can also look at it is that you can uninstall them. Well, when I say uninstall them, you can deactivate them, I suppose.
You can uninstall them as well. Yeah.
So it means that, like if it's not working, it's not sort of just, oh, it sits there. You can actually clean up your WordPress as well with that. So I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. The other thing is, guys, if you are watching and you have any questions, please do put them in the comments. And if you're even watching this on the replay, you can still add your comments in or your questions in, and we will get back to you through the comment section during the week. So if you are watching this on the replay, but if you are watching it live, please do let us know where you're watching it from, and also if you have any questions for myself or Trevor when it comes to WordPress. So I think, Trevor, we might dig in and have a look. We might have a look at we might just have a look at what's called the actual platform. Sorry, I was trying to flounder there while I was
and press buttons.
yeah, so let me click on this. So yes, so we have our WordPress screen. Hopefully everyone can see that.
Just zoom that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll just zoom in, as you say, Trevor. So yes, so okay, well, let's talk plugins.
That's not well. Back to our menu. We've been up and down here a few times. There's a menu called plugins, so we click on that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and we'll see there's these top two come with WordPress as standard for some reason. I never know why WordPress put those two in, but there's two plugins there, WordPress installs, and there's just a security one I put at the bottom just to stop people logging in that I don't want. So that ignore the bottom one at the moment. So this is what plugins look like. You get a title, you can see activate and delete. So these two, as you can see, are white rather than blue because they're not activated. So they're installed, but they're not activated. So if I wanted to activate one, I'd click on activate to make it live as part of the site. Otherwise, they're sort of there, but they're dormant. And this is what you're talking about, keeping things tidy. If you never want to use it ever again, you can click delete and it goes. It's deleted off the system. You can always go and reinstall it again, find it and pop it in. Here, it's on the system, but it won't be part of the live website. So that's the difference between active and not active, or whether you delete it and it disappears. But anyway, if you want to find
I was always curious. I've always been curious as to why they have like that Hello Dolly, because like I'm just reading it even here and it says, oh, it's 2 words sung by Louis Armstrong. Hello Dolly, when activated, will randomly see lyrics from Hello Dolly in the upper right hand of the admin screen every day. Like,
I think it's been part of WordPress since day one, and it's just
yeah,
part of WordPress.
and I think but like, and I know like anytime I've ever gone and I've gone to build WordPress site and I go into plugins, that's the first one I delete. I just go delete, get clear that, clean that out of the way. The other one though, I don't know about the other one. Like it blocks spam. I don't know. Does that actually?
Yeah, it's if you've got like a contact form or something like that. You know, or people that if you're traditionally on blogging, you'll have a sort of review comments section at the bottom of the page where people leave comments.
Yeah.
It's part of that because spam can be automated through coding, and so it's just an anti-spam system for those kind of comments. If you've got comments enabled on your blog or your page and stuff, so that's quite a handy one to look on that. But this hasn't got a blog, so it's inactive at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so regards to plugins, let's go.
Yeah, so let's add a plugin. So we just pop up to add new, and here, a bit like the themes, there's a huge, great list of plugins, and you can scroll down. Obviously, you can click on by tags on subject, but or here you can search if you want to search for a plugin if you know what you're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for and you're trying to find one, you can actually go to the WordPress website, which we talked about, WordPress.org. Is there, and you can search plugins there, and there's your 56,000. And let's just search one back on here. Either place you can search. I find sometimes the website's easier to navigate around if I'm just idly looking for stuff and I'm not actually in WordPress at the time. But let's say here we want to look for duplicate post. Let's see what comes up. Here we go, duplicate post. You can see there's various ones. You've got duplicate post, duplicate page, delete duplicate post menu, all various ones there. I happen to know the one I use. But on this page, you've got a very quick summary of who it's by, if you recognize the developer. You know, some may be by WordPress or a big software company, and others can be by individuals. It will give you review. So there's 446 people who reviewed this, and it looks like pretty much that one's 5 stars. This one's 4.5 stars, 113 reviews. So yeah, it's looking quite promising, 5-star review. And this one's got over 3 million active installations. Now I look at that, I think if 3 million people are using that and it's got 5-star reviews, that's a pretty good plugin.
Yeah.
To me, that's the quick.
Really, it is. Really.
The other confidence bit is here. It's been last updated 2 months ago, so the developer is still active. You know, it doesn't say 4 years ago and the developers have forgot it. It doesn't work. And there's a quick check that WordPress does. It will check that plugin is valid with your current version of WordPress, because WordPress has updates as it goes along through the years, keeps bringing out new editions. That will check your current edition of WordPress and the plugin and say, yep, that will be compatible. So, I mean, all these are actually quite good. But you can see one here, this one here, 2 reviews, 100 plugins, 100 reviews. Compared to the top one, that doesn't look so exciting, does it?
No.
You know, not saying it's no good, but confidence-wise, 3 million installs compared to 100. You know, so 200,000, 1 review, 40 installs, untested with this version of plugin, updated 4 months ago. That one, you know, may not be quite so good. So that gives you a quick overview. You can quickly see this is a good one. You can click on more details to give you more of a overview of it. And this is pulling this from the WordPress site that I just showed you. And it'll give you a description of what it does, functions and options. You can read all of that. It's got how to install it. It's got FAQs. It tells you what's changed, screenshots and reviews. And you can see here, here's the summary. Last 2 months requires WordPress 3.6 or higher. I think we're running 5 point something. So that's okay. Compatible with what it's compatible with, what PHP it requires. PHP is to do with your web server. So that tells you on that if that changes, how many installations, if it's got its home page, if it's got its own website. Some developers will have their own websites. You can go to there, and then the reviews. I mean, look at those reviews. There's very few bad reviews. You know, 7 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
And you can click on the reviews, and it will actually go to the reviews, and it will say people can put comments, and there's not many comments there. So. And it shows you how obviously recent reviews are. So that's the information you can get on it. If you're happy with that, you can click install now. We click on there, and the little thing tells you it's installing. It shouldn't take too long, depending on the complication of the plugin. So that now says that's now installed, and I can activate it if I click on active there. Or if we go back to our list of installed plugins, we'll see it listed. So here it's listed here, and if I click activate, it's done. That's activated as quick as that. Some will put a little banner up the top here, may say, oh, new version coming out, pro edition, pay us money, donate money, whatever. A comment, you can just click that way if you don't want to read that. So that duplicate post is now active.
Very good. Very good.
Simple as that. But that is quite a simple little plugin. You know, it's not too complicated. And this is where the fun then begins. Here you've got settings, because each plugin will have settings of what the functionality of this plugin does. So here, this duplicate post plugin gives you now options to configure it. So if you imagine you've got a post,
I suppose this is the part that people don't actually take the time to do. They just go, all right, that's installed, happy days, and they start to work.
You know, this one, I know this one very well. This one will work out the box. You know, you can say create a page, go, right, I want to duplicate that, and creates a second page. But here in the settings, you can dig in a bit further if you want to. What this is actually saying is within your post, what bits of it does it copy? And here it will copy the title, the excerpt, content, image, template, format, menu order. Everything else it won't copy. But you can choose if you want to copy the date, choose the date. That's up to you. The other handy one I always add in is the title prefix, and I will put copy. See, I already do it. So what that does is when it takes a copy in your list of pages, you'll see copy at the front, so you know which one's the new one. Otherwise, you'll have 2 the same. You won't know which one's which. Anyway, there's lots of other changes there. I won't go into the detail. Each plugin, and then you save changes. So each plugin will have settings of some sorts. You know, some more complicated than others, and that's how you can edit the settings of your plugin.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
There you go. And you can see it's changed to blue to show it's active in your list. So
yeah, brilliant stuff. Okay, I'm just going to bring us 2 back up on screen. So let me just do a little bit of a jiggery pokery here. That's it. There we go. Better have our logo back on. Yeah. So like as you see, you know, there is plugins are fantastic, and if they're used correctly and if you use wisely, they can be a real asset to your page, real asset. Like I've used a couple. I use one or two that I would use for sliders and stuff like that on websites and stuff like that.
Yep.
So there's a wide variety of them, from visual graphics to social links and social icons, and then there's the back end stuff as well, which is also obviously very important as well.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that if you are looking, and as Trevor said earlier on, you can go in, have a play around, have a look and see what it is, install them, have a look, see if they do it for you, have a bit of a review and stuff like that. But if you want to fast track it, is to get in contact with either myself or Trevor, and we can guide you through the ones that you need, or if you have any particular questions that you want answered, or you're looking for answers. I would say to you guys, though, it's so important to make sure to check and see that it is compatible with your version of WordPress before you go and install it, because if it's not, you could waste a couple of minutes or a couple of an hour or two. Or they usually install. They usually do install fairly quickly, don't they? I don't think they've ever been like a major, 3-hour installation and stuff like that.
No, I mean, generally they'll install even something like, I don't know, say WooCommerce, the e-commerce platform. It depending on how quick your connection and how good your web server is, it shouldn't take more than sort of 30 seconds to a minute to install. The complicated bit is then going like there. I just went into the settings of that one quite quick. There's not many tick boxes. You go into WooCommerce, there's a lot of options to configure. So it depends on the complexity of what the plugin's doing and how complicated it is. If you, I don't know, say you're setting up something like MailChimp, you want to integrate, say, MailChimp, your email software, with WordPress, you're going to have to go in there and put in some security logins, passwords, keys, or things that MailChimp will give you, and it will say, go to MailChimp and do this and get the security key and put it in WordPress so you can talk to your account. You're going to have to run through a routine to configure it to tell WordPress to talk to your MailChimp account. But something like that, MailChimp will lead you through and tell you, do this, save. That's what you need to do to get it started.
Guide you through a process. Really,
it'll guide through the wizard. Something like MailChimp, very popular email platform, very good software. They go the extra mile to give you that confidence. They'll lead you through how to set it up. Some of them are homemade plugins, won't do that. They're a bit clunky. You got to find your way around them. The help isn't brilliant, So there is a choice when you go into it. But I've found the more reputable ones, if it's more complicated, they will lead you through the systems. It's like the one thing I've always saying on all of this: before you make any significant change, make sure you do a backup.
Yes,
take a backup of your site before you do anything major. Because if your site has a problem, I've even had problems with reputable plugins. I've installed Yoast, the SEO plugin, on one site, and it broke the site. I had to go back I had to reinstall from a backup, do it again, try something, and for whatever, I don't know why, I installed it again and it's fine. It's just having a Friday afternoon moment. But if I hadn't had a backup, I would have lost the site. So definitely. And this is the thing we were talking, whenever I set a new WordPress, so I know when I set them up, and when I set a new WordPress site up, for those who want it, is you can either have a clean install and you do it like with it, or I will set it up with a preset number of plugins. So you're kind of ready to go with the essentials. So you haven't got to think, what backup do I use? What's the duplicate post? How do I do SEO? It's got the standard set of plugins, which are enough to kind of get you started on the road. And that's a standard install I will do to save you that time and trouble, and I know those plugins, they work. I use them all the time. I've got dozens of sites all using them, and I'm not saying nothing goes wrong, because let's face it, computers, the internet, when you stand back at it, it's all quite sophisticated, isn't it?
And look, at the end of the day, nothing is set in stone where it's going to be 100% perfect. But as you say, and I think that's a very good thing to mention is that that you can go, and especially with yourself, and it's not a sales pitch of any shape or size, but is that, and I know I've done it with yourself, when I've had WordPress, so I'd say, right, I need to set this up, and you say, oh, right, do you want the usual? And I go, yeah, and bang, like that. You have your duplicate pages, you have your, your word fence, your whatever it is, your backups and stuff, and it works, and it saves you the hassle of having to go and figure out and saying, oh, right, spending an hour when you could end up just going bang, it's done and
Yeah.
dusted type of thing.
Yeah,
And I think that's very important as well. The other thing that I wanted to sort of just touch on, and it's something that I think we need to maybe address over the next couple of weeks. It was something that was said to me only during the week, where a person had a website and they had it from a particular hosting company. They went in and they decided that they wanted to update it and make it all glossy and make it all WordPressy type of thing. And they ended up, they couldn't, because what they bought with the hosting package, they had to upgrades and stuff like that. So I think that's it's a subject that I think we should tackle over the next couple of weeks. Is there's, you know, the difference between buying a domain, buying a hosting, and then looking at the hosting and saying that the hosting, oh, this is €6 cheaper, or £6 cheaper, or $6 cheaper. And in actual fact, it costs you more in the long run. So I think we need to sort of maybe delve into that a little bit and, you know, talk about that. I know it's not particularly WordPress, but it is associated with it. But
it's the building blocks of WordPress. You have to understand what is WordPress. WordPress is a software package that runs on a computer server.
Yeah.
If the computer server isn't good, WordPress won't be good. I think the point on the plugins that you can't install and whatever, if you're using WordPress.com, which is the WordPress provided platform where you don't install it yourself, you run it on WordPress.com. The basic packages, I know they've got various packages and I can't remember exactly which package does what, but the basic cheap packages, you can't install plugins. You get what you get. You pay your £5 a month, whatever you pay, and it will do a basic setup. And if you say, well, I just want to change this theme, you can't do that. If you want to change this, no, you can't install a plugin. You're on the basic package. You know, a lot of what I'm talking about here is having your own WordPress on your own web hosting account, which you're in control of. And you can install any of those 56,000 plugins and do marvelous things with it. So yeah, WordPress.com is the WordPress hosted end of things. It's great for getting started, for hobbies and clubs and your personal blog and that kind of world. But I think if you're in business and want it to go and want to fly with it and grow with it, it's not the place really to be, you know. And I wouldn't even start off there, because the headache of you start off there and go, well, I've now got to move it. Well, how do I move it? Can I just copy and paste? I had something the other day, it was on a GoDaddy page builder website. I said, well, can you just move it to WordPress for me? As I could just copy and paste this website from GoDaddy and paste it into WordPress. It'll only take me 10 minutes. Well, no, you can't just copy and paste, you know. And this is, so we can talk about that perhaps in next week. We can go into the behind the scenes of WordPress and what differences will the hosting make and what should you look out for with your domain names and your hosting and that kind of thing, and explore that, because it's kind of like if you're going to build a house, you want to check your land first.
Yeah.
No good having a fabulous house if it's on the beach, is it? You know.
Yeah, and I think that's where people, I think, you know, a lot of people have come to me and say, "Oh, well, I just bought a new website," and I go, "Okay," and then they go, "Well, can you build me a website?" And I say, "Okay, where's it hosted? Have you got the login details?" "Oh no, I just bought the domain." I'm going, "Yeah, well, you know." So I think there's a lot of that where people, it's not saying, like, I think they just don't know, or they don't understand it. So it's sort of breaking it down and saying, okay, for this, you have to get this to do this and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely worth talking about, because as much as we're talking about WordPress here and we're talking about the actual platform and the plugins and all that, you have to have the house before you can sort of fill it up first, I suppose, as well, you know. So,
well, I think you know, this is, to me, this is the challenge of WordPress. People say, "Oh yeah, but I got Squarespace; it's really easy to use."
Yeah.
But if you don't know the power, then you don't appreciate what you can do with WordPress. Yes, it is a little bit more challenging. Well, I've got to install a plugin. But Squarespace, same. Squarespace has plugins. Wix has plugins, but you're limited, you know. And there isn't so much support. You know, you see on forums, anybody know how to help you with Wix? Well, no decent web designer will help you with Wix, because it's not great, and they don't want to get their hands dirty because it's hard work. So they're great getting you started, these other platforms, and they look really great, but they then get, well, I can't do that, and I can't do this, and I can't upgrade that, and I can't, oh, now what do I do? Well, what you do is you take what you've spent the last year building, you get rid of it, start again, and go, you know. And it's the same with plugins. You know, it is a challenge finding the right ones, and I've spent, you know, years finding ones. Some work, some don't work. But as you know, I find the ones that work for me and the ones that do what they do, and they're very powerful what they do, make life really easy. But I know that if you don't know they exist, trying to find them and understand what they do is a real headache. But the others are no different. They're all, you've still got to search for plugins. And the thing is, if you get something like Wix and it's got 250 plugins and you can't find one, well, what do? There's no answer. There is no plugin. Whereas at least WordPress, I've never got to stage WordPress thinking, oh, I can't find the plugin I want. There's always something does what I want it to do. That is the power. At 56,000 plugins is a very good choice, but it does present that problem of finding the ones in that 56,000. But that's where people like ourselves come in. We use them on a day-to-day basis. We know which ones will work. And equally, if someone says, "Oh, do you know a plugin that does this?" I know quickly how to find one and quickly evaluate it because I kind of know what I'm looking for. I'm tuned into that kind of thing.
Yeah. But that's it's like everything, but like yes. So I think that's one of the episodes that we should be definitely delving in a little bit deeper. But we're not, just to stress, and we're not knocking the Squarespaces or the Wix or on the it's different horses for different courses at the end. So it's the end of the day. And it's up to you. You make the decision, but we're just predominantly talking here about WordPress and just showing you the extra features and the capabilities that it actually has in the system. So, and that's the reason why we're talking and exploring WordPress. Simple as that. So, Trevor, how can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out and chat with you in a little bit more detail?
The easiest way is to go to the website digitalalchemist.live, and on my contact page you will see all of the social channels I'm on, and happy to either drop me an email or direct message me on whichever platform is your preferred platform of choice.
Brilliant stuff. And if you want to get in contact with me, it is similar. It's compassmedia.ie, or you'll find me across all of the usual social media platforms. I'm always there, everywhere. Yes, indeed. And if I don't reply to you immediately, I will reply to you within 1 or 2 days. It's quite crazy busy here in the offices at the moment. So we're doing, but if you do reach out and you want to connect with me, I'd be delighted to, and I will get in contact with you, and I will answer you directly. So, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us tonight, and if you're watching this in the replay, thanks for coming back and checking it out. And Trevor, thanks for sharing such your knowledge of wisdom as always, and. We shall see you next week for another episode 4. Yeah, it's going to be amazing how quickly these are going to just stack up. I know. It's like I was doing the plug for it today, and I was going, episode 3 already. Jeez, it only feels like so it's good stuff. So until next week at the same time, guys, as I always say, be social. Trevor,
keep exploring.
Hey, until next time, we shall talk to you soon, and have a great evening. Until next time, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.